this morning was something of an embodiment of stuff that I sit behind a desk in my bedroom in Bristol and think and talk a lot about. And so it's really quite inspiring and grounding to be here today, to hear so many voices with so many messages that are really resonant with what as an organisation we're trying to achieve as Sport England. So for those of you who don't know, Sport England is an arm's length body of government. We're sponsored by the Department for Culture, Media and Sport, and our role is to encourage people to move more. And you are a part of a movement that we have been, we are a part of as well. So our overarching strategy is called Uniting the Movement. Many of you will know that. And there is just so much that we've heard today that brings that to life. So thank you, first and foremost, for every project, for every organization, for every individual who's working as part of this movement. It's really exciting to see that come to life. Active Bloss is a part of a network of active partnerships across England. There are 43 organizations like Active Bloss working in quite similar ways and sometimes in different ways to get people moving, because we recognize that everyone should have the right and the opportunity to experience all the benefits that we've heard about today. So it's my job today to reflect back on what we've heard this morning, which is really challenging because of the richness of all of the voices that have come through. But I wanted to talk a little bit about starting, moving and keeping going. So first of all, I'm really excited today because my relationship with movement, which we believe at Sport England, is that it's a lifelong relationship, started with dance. So the fact that we started this morning with dance, and actually I heard some really familiar names of organizations and people that I've worked with over the years, was really exciting to me. So I'm always going to be biased towards dance. And my first experience of recognizing that I love to move my body, and if some of you may have heard this story before, so I apologize, was when I was a thief in my primary school contemporary dance piece. And I will never forget that. And it's really interesting to me that something that can seem so like normal every day. You know, I was with a student dance teacher who was creating, one of her first pieces of choreography for her assignment at college. But it was really special to me, and it lit something in me that has actually brought me to where I am today. So how we start and where we start doesn't have to be remarkable. And I think we've heard that today from a lot of the speakers. So all of the speakers who sat here this morning talked about some small beginnings. And I think that's really important, because when we're trying to ignite a movement, we have to recognize that movements don't start in one place. One of the things that Kirsty said is that leadership isn't about titles and roles. And I really believe that. I think that's been demonstrated here this morning. So a little bit about starting. And then about moving, because the reason that we've kind of framed what we're doing as a movement is the recognition that actually this is not about a linear journey. This is about something that has multiple starting points and will have lots and lots of different endpoints. There are many people with many different experiences sitting in this room, and you've come to where you are in many different ways. What can we do to coordinate and connect and enhance what we're doing? And it sounds to me like Active Bloss is doing a lot of stuff that is connecting and enhancing the work that individuals are doing so that it becomes a movement. And then finally, how do we keep going? I noticed we're in the home of the brave. Great, like that. I was kind of sitting up there and I'm like, okay, we're in the home of the brave. And I loved the values of Active Bloss to be curious, brave and relational. And I think that's actually how we keep going, is that we keep our curiosity as open as we possibly can, that none of us has a sense that we have arrived, that we rest on our laurels, but that we know that there's stuff that we don't know. We know there's stuff that we need to learn from the people in the room. So my encouragement to you today is to listen really well to the people around you, to see what you can learn, to remain curious, and then to ask yourself what you're going to do with that. What are the brave and courageous steps that you're going to take as a result of that? At this point in history, I mean, we haven't talked a lot about the societal context. We haven't talked a lot about the many kind of things that are pressing down on us as we're trying to do good work. But in order to do that good work, we have to be brave. And then we have to remember that we're not alone. So as we move kind of forward from this session through to the other sessions and into our everyday work, just to kind of keep that relational connection. It's really easy to fall back into that sense that, everything's a transaction, but I don't think that's going to get us very far. And again, there's been so much in what many of the speakers have said about how important the personal is, how important that one-on-one connection with an individual is, but also for all of us to recognize that if we build and invest in that quality of relationship, it's going to take us all further, much faster. So I've got a couple of corporate things I should share with you. As I mentioned, we're about 3 years into delivering what has been a really crowdsourced strategy called Uniting the Movement at Sport England. We spoke to lots of people in the sector, and it was really clear that we no longer wanted to work in the way that we did. We now understand sport, physical activity, and all the wider kind of organizations and sectors that impact on people's capacity to move as a system. And so we're working on what is the system strategy. And we see every single organization at every level within our kind of ecosystem as really important. And we recognize that everyone needs to understand their role better in relation to other people's roles. So our Uniting Movement strategy sort of seeks to do that. And what was referred to earlier was the Active Lives data, which we bring out every year. So we bring a couple of weeks ago, we published our latest Active Lives data. So I'd like to recommend that to you as something that might be valuable to you, particularly looking at the local data for Active Gloss to understand where significant progress is being made, and also to understand where there still are quite stubborn inequalities where we can focus our attention. So just to commend that to you and to say it's really exciting to see the progress that's been made here in Gloucestershire through that data. The second thing is really exciting. Last week, we had a promise in our strategy for 3 years, which we haven't delivered, and that was that we were going to have an open fund that anyone could apply for. And we've just launched something called the Movement Fund, which any organization that is wanting to get people moving and tackling inequalities can apply for. So you can go to our website now and look at that if you're an organization that wants to receive some funding. And then the third thing is something that's really live for us, which is that next week is Mental Health Awareness Week. And we've got an amazing partnership with the Mental Health Foundation, which is a campaign that is specifically focused on the impact of movement on mental health. I'm really excited about it, so you can look out for it. It's called Moments for Movement. I think it's hashtagged. I'm not really good at that kind of stuff. But yeah, look out for it next week. And I'm sure you will all be doing lots of stuff around mental health this month and next week. But I wanted to share with you that that's something that's become really important to us at Sport England, along with a number of other things. But that's a really exciting thing that's coming up. So thank you for having me. Thank you for all that's been shared so far. I'm looking forward to hearing more. And yeah, enjoy the rest of the day.